My guest this week has been a busy person over the past few months. He is the new head coach of the Mizzou men's basketball team. Dennis Gates joins us this week on Sports Extra. You've had a complete staff overhaul, almost a complete roster overhaul. Is there such a thing as getting settled in even at this point?
Well, there's no such thing in this college basketball world. I think whenever you take over a program, first you have to be excited and thankful for the opportunity. And I'm thankful for the opportunity President Choi, as well as Desiree Reed-Francois and our board of curators have given me. Me and my staff, we're going to work extremely hard, but we've put together a good team, a good program that I think will allow us to compete at a high level.
You've finally been able to get on the court, I think, in the last couple of weeks. Everybody getting on campus, off-season workouts. That's got to be key when you've got 9 newcomers and then a couple of walk-ons.
Absolutely. Move-in day is extremely exciting. It's one of those things that's a part of the process. You're excited to move guys in, and you hate to see them graduate and matriculate through the program. But we're at these infant stages of building, and we're excited to have our guys here in this community, and it's been nothing but open arms thus far.
What has it been like to actually get on the floor and get a basketball in some of these guys' hands? I mean, you've got varying levels of familiarity with them when you recruit them. To actually see them on the court, what have you seen so far?
Well, I think the 4 young men that comes from Cleveland State University, where I was their coach, obviously Mabor Majak, Trago Million, Demoy Hodge, and Ben Sternberg, they're familiar with the expectations. So those guys, I've seen them be more teachers when it comes to cultural things and different philosophies and helping guys through drills and my expectations. So that's been amazing. I think when you look at our great returning player in Kobe Brown, you look at his excitement as well, and the camaraderie and the leadership that he is showing thus far has been amazing.
How, did you seek out bringing in some guys that you'd had with Cleveland State to get that familiarity, or did that just kind of fall into place naturally?
I think it was very important. Whenever you can rebuild or restore, whatever you want to name it at this phase, you want to have guys that are familiar with the head coach, the expectations, the program's expectations, but also our 8 core values of friendship, love, accountability, trust, discipline, unselfishness, enthusiasm, and toughness. And those guys are able to teach along the way, but also hold each other accountable. And there's no way I can do it by myself, and I'm excited about this city, this community, but also all those behind us out there.
A lot of newcomers, and one of the more recent additions is somebody that people in Columbia are familiar with. That's Isaiah Mosley.
Absolutely.
Walk us through the process of recruiting him and getting him signed and here on campus and bringing that 20 points a game and that shot back to his hometown.
I think what we got to understand is what has taken place before that. We were able to build a roster, retain Kobe Brown, and obviously the pieces, Nick Honor, you look at Sean East, Mohamed Diari, but also the host of other guys that are sitting in our program, Demoy Hodge, who is a first-team All-Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Trago Million, who is a Defensive Player of the Year. So it was one of those things where he sought us out, and he was able to be in a position where he was one of the last remaining transfers out there in the portal. But it was a young man that wanted to come home. And those things, those elements is what we had in our favor. So I thank the community. I thank his experience in high school. I thank his mom. I thank, all his excitement leading up to the moment of going to college. He had Mizzou in his heart. And that's what he explained to me at the onset. So when it comes down to recruiting a young man like that, we're thankful to have him. But more importantly, the roster recruited him here before he made the announcement, as he steadily, patiently waited to see what it would look like.
So that's how you got him here. What does he bring to your team? I mean, he shot the ball very well last year, and we know he can score.
Yeah. I think when you look at the totality of it, it's a positive of what Kobe Brown brings first and foremost, because of Kobe being a second-team all-conference player, a guy that has garnered a lot of the attention, but also the respect of coaches in the SEC. But also you look at what he's been able to do off the court. Kobe Brown is an unbelievable student athlete. We're thankful to have him. You look at a point guard. The point guard play for any shooting guard is very important. You have 2 guys who are positive assist to turnover ratio in Sean East as well as Nick Honor. Nick Honor played at Clemson, went to the NCAA tournament. So that experience helps any kind of guard or shooting guard or scoring guard a comfortable way of knowing that they'll get some action, so to speak, but also not be double teamed, and maybe scoring will be a little easier. I think what we do have to understand is this young man put his name in the draft. He was able to potentially try to figure out if he wanted to forego his last year of eligibility. And we're thankful that he did come back, but more importantly, he wanted to be home and in front of his family. That's the most important thing.
I want to bring up Aiden Shaw. He's the lone freshman.
Absolutely.
Very intriguing, high-level player. You've talked before about how important it was to keep him in the fold, recruited by the previous staff.
Yeah.
What does he bring? What are you already seeing from him?
Aiden Shaw is a dynamic player. His future is going to be very, very bright. I'm excited about him as a young man. But you got to understand, his parents graduated from Mizzou. So it's been in his heart, it's been in his sight for a long time. I'm just thankful to be able to restore the love that he had before I got hired and we were named as a head coach here. But he's a young man that had it in his heart. I was able to chat with him, one of the first calls I made, and we connected. We connected based off what his dreams and aspirations were, but also what my background was in addition to him as a young man and what he wanted to see academically at Mizzou.
What are you already seeing from him as a player?
Well, as a player, he's a dynamic athlete. He's a young man that plays above the rim. I think he has the potential to be an all-conference defensive player of the year candidate, a guy that can really, really get out in the open court, block shots, rebound, but also hit open shots. Right now we're working in terms of his ball handling skills. Those are areas he has to improve, but he's a great, great prospect and obviously a young man that I think is very talented.
We've mentioned a lot of names because there are so many newcomers. Mm-hmm. This is the world we live in now in college basketball in 2022. I think everybody agrees that the freedom of movement, it's the right thing, it's the just thing. Makes it easy to put a roster together, but how do you keep a team together and try to have continuity moving forward?
Well, you have to build a culture because at the end of the day, no young man is going to put their name in a portal if it's a great thing. If they're receiving the type of development that I truly think our young people are inspiring for and asking for, it starts with the leadership. It starts with the support of our fan base and our fellow student athletes. It starts with the culture that we're building. And I think our young guys are really, really enjoying it. We're going to build our culture on 8 core values. And that is what we do to retain our guys. We talk about friendship, love, accountability, trust. We talk about discipline, unselfishness, enthusiasm, and toughness. And those things are really resonating in our guys, and I truly believe is going to allow us to galvanize as a team and build the camaraderie necessary.
What is your scheduling philosophy going to be going into your first year?
Well, scheduling philosophy, we have to prepare ourselves for SEC play. So what we have done is identified different places or different institutions or program styles of play to allow us to prepare in a way that can be successful in the SEC. There are some dynamic coaches. There's no doubt about it. Unbelievable players. And I truly believe SEC basketball is one of the top conferences in the country. So for us, we're going to continue to philosophy-wise try to get us in road games. The matchups is reoccurring in terms of our neighboring states on both sides. Those are there. The Big 12 Challenge, our opponent was announced. So we have those opportunities in the offseason, but we have to get in front of our fans and also host some home games that will allow us the confidence to move forward.
Yeah. As you've gotten to know the fan base, you've gotten out there and around, what kind of an energy do you feel right now as you build your program for the season?
It's a passion, man. It's an unbelievable passion that I see. We're a well-educated fan base, and it's on the shoulders of Norm Stewart. Norm has done a tremendous job, and his legacy is something that I think we should never not talk about. So I'll do my respect and always talk about the legacy that he has been able to build here, but also on the shoulders of others, right? There has been some great coaches come through here since his time, But as it relates to the logo that I wear on my chest and our student athletes, it was built by Norm and the fellow unbelievable student athletes he recruited. And my hat goes out to our former players. Our former players have done a tremendous job out there when it comes down to representing our institution. There's a type of love that they all have had when they've gone from here into the real world, but also into the NBA. The success is well documented, and I'm excited to reconnect with our former players.
I know you've answered this question a lot, but now that you've actually had the guys on campus a little bit.
I know what you're about to ask.
What kind of a team are we going to see this year? What's going to be the makeup and the brand of Mizzou basketball?
I think we're going to be a pressured type of team. We have the personnel for such, the team that can also take care of the basketball, shoot threes, but also make them. I think we're going to have a team that values defense. When it comes down to playing on both sides, but we're going to try to put pressure on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, and you can only do that by shooting threes, but also getting to that free throw line by putting pressure on the basket, and we're going to do that. Our personnel is going to tell us what we can or cannot do, but we have some unbelievable players who play both sides of the basketball, and they're excited to be a part of our program.
Well, we're excited to see the first season under you. The schedule will come out later this summer.
Absolutely.
And I know you've got a lot of excitement going. Are you going to get a chance to take a rest at any point, or does it just keep churning?
No such thing. No such thing as rest. I think this is a year-round responsibility, just reconnecting with recruiting relationships, but also leading a group of young men and the staff in our program back to where we truly belong.
Well, I certainly appreciate you taking some time. You're welcome back anytime, and thanks for coming.
That. Thank you. MIZ.